we'll see how this goes. Alright, so yeah, we'll start up here. See how many we get through in an hour. And cool, how many of these did you end up getting through? Okay. Alright. Alright, we'll move through these ones fast then, since you were able to do them. But in case anybody else wasn't. Alright, so I've already downloaded the files. We'll spawn the Docker. Or actually... Alright. And so going back to... Going back to this. Recover mysterious document, an old resume. Before fall from grace. See if it has any secrets. So as you know from this one, I think we just inspect. Or actually, there's a downloaded file. Let's look at that real quick. Have to keep this up. A new hire. Alright, so... Alright, so... Oops. So it's just an email.eml. So we can... 7zx. We get our email. Cat it. And you see we could review his resume here. So there's two things we could do. We could either put this into our Etsy hosts as the IP we got, or we could just, go here. And I think that's what we got anyway here, this index. So we're already here. And so we get this part anyway. So in this, we see there is another endpoint. And going here, we see a bunch of other stuff. Someone, it looks like, is adding stuff. But anyway, in configs, in client, we get a bunch of stuff. And I actually didn't decode any of this. I don't know what that, interpreter data. So exec, if we wanted to, we could see what this does. I don't want to though. I don't care enough. So we'll just go back here. And we get our flag. Bring that back here. And let's go. Alright, so that one was easy. Maybe one day I'll be curious what the interpreter does, but... Okay. Let's do this one real quick. We'll come back here. See if this is going to help us. It's not right now. Alright, so... Which one are we doing? Thorn something. here we have an artifact 1 or a PS1 PowerShell script. So of course we can open it. We can cat our artifact, and basically, if a computer name equals workstation or does not equal, exit. So we care about this. We can echo base64 decode. And now we get this. So now we can do again. Let's do the other thing that we should have done the first time, the proper way to do this. I don't know about proper, at least the way they want us to do this. So corp.htb, so we'll go sudo nano etc hosts, and then we have this IP at here's corp.htb. Now when we go back here and reload this, HTB, this probably still won't give us anything, right? No. We still need the endpoint. So it doesn't even matter, but I think what they want us to do is core.htb. And this should give us the update. No, that doesn't. Alright. Who cares? Should we fix it? Am I spelling everything right? Core.htb. Doesn't matter. The thing that we want is the update. That's the important part. So for this one, same kind of thing. We're invoking a web request to this IP. This time we're using a key, it looks like. We're getting an out file, and then we're executing it. So the easiest thing to do here is just to copy this update to, I don't know, we'll call it fixed. It's not fixed, but maybe defanged. And we could just take this to we could just take this part out, right? Because what we just want to see is what is the file that it's downloading. We don't want to see what it's we don't want to see the execution yet. So we could save this, open up a PowerShell terminal. I think this is Thorn. And now we could run our defanged. We gotta fix this. Corp.htb. Am I spelling it right? KORP. KORP.htb. It's crazy. Do we have to put in the, because this isn't the port? Hello? Okay. Oh, that's doing something. No, that's breaking it too. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, oops. I don't think that should matter. I'm wondering if I don't think I'm getting blocked by anything. Yeah, but then I feel like I shouldn't be getting the connection here. Let me just check my notes, see what I did, see if I did anything different when I did it the first time. When I did it the first time, I just took out that host name and I put the IP in there. I didn't mess around with Etsy host. I guess let's just do that. I don't need to mess around. That's stupid that I feel like that should work. I wonder if I'm using the wrong IP? No. Alright, whatever. Alright, so instead of using this now, we could just go and do this. The goal isn't to get Etsy host to work, it's to get us the next stage. And now, when we come back, we have this. So this is what we wanted. And then, yeah. We could hypothetically just run this too. This doesn't look like it's going to be malicious. It looks like it just might print out the string. And we will pipe this XSP RP. Alright. Maybe someday. So the N is no new line. And then the, I don't know what the R is, maybe reverse, I don't know. We could look it up. But then the P, I don't know, let's look that up. Yeah, you could definitely use CyberChef too. So reverse, yeah, PS. Let's see what happens without the P. It's gotta be like print, right? I don't. What about like man XXD? I guess it's just this. That was the output in PostScript continuous hex dump style. Cool. Alright, cool. So yeah, this one, with the exception of I don't know why Etsy host isn't working. Either I'm doing something stupid or I don't know. But that one's pretty easy too. Okay, so you said which one didn't you get? Stealth Invasion or Silent Trap? Alright. Okay, let's do it. Yeah. Okay. So we get a bunch of these flags we're gonna put in, and then yeah, we basically, like you said, we're gonna memory dump and we're gonna use volatility. So let's do it. So we can kill this, and then we can go back here, just like before. We'll make a directory. We'll look inside of it. We already know what it's going to be though. It's that memory dump. We see that memory dump. So we'll extract it. Everything's okay. And so to get our initial stuff that we need to get, we'll do Python 3 volatility, this dump, but for our first step we want to get the info. And so this is the first step. So were you able to get this to work? Yeah, because this will give you your symbols table. And so typically, it doesn't help us in this one, but the malfind. This is, when I typically run this, this is going to be one of the first plugins I run, malfind. Let's make it a little smaller. Again, this isn't going to give us anything, but a lot of the time it could be helpful. Yeah, this is volatility 3. No. What? Yeah, if you could post like an error that you got, or hey bro, welcome. Hey, how's your day going? Good, good. Yeah, I'll keep going slowly while you look for your error. But yeah, the first thing, if you don't get that symbols table to work, the rest won't work. Did I exit out of this? Alright, I'll keep it. I feel blind right now. What channel did you post it in? Oh, I'm tripping. I didn't even have that open. My bad. Alright, alright. Yeah, so you're trying to get the output into pslist.txt, and that's not working. Did anything work for you? Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so, but the first command that you ran, that did you ever run the windows.info command? And you get the same error? Yeah, let's start with that one. Because this error is kind of expected if we don't get the symbol table from this one. Okay, but you got this one to work then. Okay, so volatility is working then, I think. Let's just figure out why that command isn't working. And you tried PS. Yeah, where the I'm guessing that, so my initial, I don't have very much evidence for this, but my initial thought is that when you're running, you might be using two different versions of volatility, because it doesn't make sense for you to get that error if you are producing the symbols table. So maybe it's not able to find the symbols table. Yeah, maybe try a reinstall, but yeah, these would be the two things to start with. If you're getting this info to work, I I don't know why this one wouldn't work for you. Okay. Yeah, but I could run through it and then this is gonna be recorded, so you could just go back and look at it once you get volatility to work. Okay. Um, all right, so let's look at the questions. This one is a good example of how the questions could help you figure out what's going on, because these questions lead you to the answer, right? In ways that this same setup could have been used in a potentially hard or insane Sherlock, right? If they did a better job at hiding the extension and not telling you that there was something malicious going on in Chrome and just had a normal system, it might have taken us a while to figure that out. But this one, they kind of just gave us, exactly where to look. Okay. So with that being said, first Google Chrome process. I will do I for ignore case Chrome. And I'm gonna go get some water. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay. So, first one we see 4080. So we got our correct flag. And now what is the only folder on the desktop? We get a hint here that's Celine. This is the user. So we could start by doing dump file. No. We don't want to dump them yet. File scan. File scan. Yeah, and we could do exactly something like this. So file scan, we'll get our output. We'll do a grep, ignoring the case, looking for Celine again, and we'll get that output. And there might be a cleaner way to do this, but as you could imagine, once this is done, we'll have all of the files that include this user, and now we just need to look for desktop. And this takes a little bit. Takes a lot of bit. Strings is always useful with memory dumps as well, or typically useful. Or no. Oh, here we go. We could do this too. So this would be a second option if you're tired of waiting for volatility to parse the actual files and you don't want to wait 10 minutes. We could get pretty much the same information by running strings on the memdo. And then, you know, our grep, and I guess if we wanted to, Windows Event Viewer. Yeah, so the memory dump will have logs in them, but Chainsaw is more for logs, and a memory dump isn't, you know, just logs, right? There's more to the memory dump than just logs. But any logs that are captured in that RAM or that volatile memory at that moment will be captured. But like we're not guaranteed the full logs. Um, but that is something you can do, right? Because like um, just like we grepped for Celine right here. And okay, so let's just get this answer, and then I'll answer yours. So we've known this for a while. It's mal extensions. So let's just get this answer real quick. I don't know why it's not popping up. Okay. And so to your question. So instead of like looking for desktop, do you know where the logs are stored in a Windows system? Where? What's the full path to the logs? So yeah, so Windows System 32, and then your Win event. Um, let's see, and we could look at that too. Let's go here. So your Windows System 32 Win event logs. So we could, just like we were looking for, we could really probably just do anything with Win event. That's probably unique enough. We'll see though. So yeah, so here are some of their logs, right? And so that's what you would put into Chainsaw. And that's something you can do, right? Memory dumps are probably the most complex forensic artifact that you'll get because they really have the potential to contain all the other everything. Exactly, exactly. But this one, you know, they look kind of bunk, right? Like we're missing all of the good logs. So yeah, of course. So we probably don't want to do that this time, but that is something that you could do, right? And then sometimes like Windows will keep PCAPs as well. The memory dump, you could get a PCAP out of it. Yeah, so for this one though, we'll just stick with volatility. Okay, we don't need any of this. We could look at this again if we want. Okay, the extension ID. So again, this one kind of gives us a hint of where to look. Um, you know, these are kind of all of the malicious things that we may come across that we might be interested in. So we can, this should finally be done at this point. Oh, cat Celine, and this is finally done, right? So, you know, this could be useful. This actually does have some of the things we might use later, uh, just not in the desktop. So we may use that. But the thing that we now care about is a file scan. I guess, though, everything that we care about is already in Celine. So we could go cat Celine, and then now we're going to grep for Malikstead. You know, so this is good, I think. We got the background, we got the rules, we got the content. And so now we could start dumping these. And so say we wanted to start with, we'll just start from the top. Background, we could go Python volatility, and instead of file scan, we're going to go to dump files. And is this our virtual address? It is, but just to make sure. And so now we've, you know, this is the number one reason to use volatility over strings is strings isn't going to be able to extract clean files like this for us, but volatility, given, you know, the different symbol tables and its ability to kind of parse, it gets the actual file for us. So let's peep what's in that. And, you know, we get some kind of functionality, add log. Don't know exactly what it's doing. There's a listener. So don't know exactly what it's doing with that. Maybe it'll make more sense when we look at the rest. Let's see what this is. Same thing. And then this one is content script. Okay, we see a key in data. This one's not giving us too much interesting stuff, or anything interesting really. So we'll look at rules. I feel like there should be more from here. And nothing, no rules. Alright, I'm drawing a blank. Let's peep the walkthrough. Yeah, I don't know how I solved this part. It's good for me to go over them too. Alright, stealth invasion, right? I think so. Alright, what's the extension? This one's a little tricky. Okay, yeah, we saw that. We saw logs, we saw listens. It's injected into a web page. I think I honestly just saw it by when I got Celine. So we could cat Celine. And then go to sort unique. It's kind of crazy. There's a lot. for for this answer. Yeah, let me pull up that other one. Yeah, they're saying though that they're getting it from. I think the logs is next after examining the execute. I never looked at this one though. I Chrome. Let's do one more. I'm curious how I recognized it the first time now though. App data local. Why am I not being able to find this? I feel like I have a memory of a goldfish right now. This is it, right? Yeah, this is it. I don't know how I found it the first time. I think I was just scrolling and looked at this. And again, I think that the question's just asked in an easy way where I didn't have to be exactly sure it was that. Especially because of the example, right? Like, again, this is not good forensics in terms of being able to like solve some things and the ways that you should be able to solve them, but getting like these context clues are important, right? Like it, I think what I was able to do was just this string looks identical to this one. And so I got the answer without really even knowing it was the answer, right? And so again, maybe shouldn't do that, but in CTFs, I think it's okay. We're here to break the system. If they create the challenge in a way that lets us hack it, then with the, hacking in terms of being able to tell that this is the answer, not hacking in terms of like brute forcing the challenge or bringing the site down. Actually, brute forcing a challenge, that's a thing too, right? They should have systems in place where you can't brute force the challenge, whether it's rate limited or some CTFs have like you have 20 guesses or something. Those never end well, but yeah, that's terrible. When I'm talking about hacking a CTF, I'm not talking about doing that. Okay. Losing my voice. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's put this one in. We could get more. I think that we should, let's take a second and really actually understand their reasoning for this. This is the point of what we're doing. We flew through by it the first time. Let's really understand it this time. Okay, add log function. There are two calls to the storage API, one to get the current data in the log key, and one to set it. We can use this information to find where the local storage for extensions is. After some searching, we find the Stack Overflow answer. Not that interested. I'm interested, not that interested to read this though. Which suggests that the local storage for extensions is under. So this would be something again to add to the main nodes, right? We may come across this again. It's going to be very rare. We'll probably never see this again. But this might be like a little tidbit of information to store in the main nodes. Um, Again, probably never going to come across this again, but we'll see. And so that's how we get the extension ID. So that's what they're doing here. And if we really wanted to get that, we would grep for something like that. All right, so that makes sense. So yeah, this one was a little tricky. Um, Finding a Stack Overflow answer was going to help you, and that will get you your extension ID. All right, cool. So let's go back. Now that we found that, we found all the susness in I guess we want Chrome this time. No, we were just there. I'm tripping. We want this log now. Yeah, we could go through and get like the current database, um, but we want this. So let's see what's inside it. We'll do the same thing again. We'll go back up. Uh, we'll get this virtual address, and then we'll cat that file, this log, and then this is really it, right? From this kind of stuff, suggesting it's a keylogger, just like that's right off the bat my first intuition, right? Just seeing if we're holding shift up or like these actual enters. So yeah, our sus file where they're keeping everything. It's gonna be here. I'm gonna refresh this again. Okay, so two more. What is the URL the user navigated to? I mean, if we wanted to do this programmatically and not just like imagine this was 10 pages long. Like you might just grab HTTP. That's not going to find anything here that we want. Maybe com. We don't. This is not probably going to want strings instead of cat too. So you could kind of see. It looks like this is the iteration. It's just every letter it's adding. We finally get the email address and then the enter. Is that what we're looking for right now? The email address? No, we're looking for this part. And then the password. That's the last thing. And so password, new line, starting here, ending with enter. Go back. And so yeah, I would say that the two things to take from this one, once you get volatility to work, obviously, is that the way that the questions are asked can give you a lot of data. So take advantage of that, right? Like this could have been all of these questions could have been asked in a way where this is a hard or at least a medium or hard challenge. And then just in case we ever come across this again, we should remember where that file path is, the one that it mentioned here. Again, this is the first time we'll see if it comes up again, but all right, cool. So this one's that one's done. Yeah. So I do it at the same time now. I used to wait until I finished, but it would take me too long. And then like sometimes I couldn't remember how to do a step or something. So what I'll do is I'll keep the steps that I'm doing at that time. And then when I'm done, I'll go back and just like kind of refine it, right? Because you might add a bunch of steps that you don't actually end up using, right? So that's the downside of doing it when you first do it, is that you might go down a rabbit hole and you start adding a bunch of steps that aren't useful. So then, just when you go to publish it or whatever, you go back and just take that out. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I think it's useful to do it while you're doing it. It's tough and it takes a little bit more time. and it feels a lot really stressful because like when you start, right, there's six of you guys trying to solve some forensics problems, and you're like, all right, I need to just go. And so like you might not make your directories look good. And so like when we go back, everything's just really clean for us, right? And this is good, especially when you guys get to other CTFs where you're all working together and it's later on. If you're not organized, you might get confused, right? Like if all your files are in the same directory, they're not labeled properly. Um, so it does take some time in the beginning, and it is like annoying and a little stressful again because you're like, man, I don't want to be setting up this infrastructure while everybody else is capping flags. But I think it helps later on, especially for the hard ones. Yeah. So I like maybe yeah, maybe don't do full um write-ups at the time, just a screenshot and then like the drag and drop. Like that only takes 2 seconds, right? The screenshot and drag and drop, and you're doing that once every couple minutes when you find something useful. Maybe you don't need to take excellent notes for them during the CTF, but like once you finish the challenge, maybe go back and write a couple notes for your screenshots and take out any ones that you don't need or something. Cool. Cool. Yeah, a Scarecrow I think is going to announce you guys are playing Jersey CTF this week, which is very exciting because the league. Two reasons why that's exciting. A, it's exciting because there's no team limit, so we'll be able to get the full team on um, for the Jersey CTF. Number two is exciting because it's kind of a beginner friendly CTF. And number three, why it's exciting is the league main team isn't playing that one, so we'll be able to help you guys during the CTF this time for the first time. It will be a little similar, but you guys will all get to play together. And again, there's no team limit size, so like all 20 or 30 of you will how many ever I don't know if it's 20 or 30, at least 20 I think though. Will play. We'll be able to play, and then again, Leak will be able to help give you guys some help during the CTF too. So this is the CTF I've dreamed about in terms of like how it's organized, and I think also the best part too is that the CTF that the main league team is in starts before your guys's, and I think it's going to be kind of easy. So if we could full clear before your guys' CTF starts, we'll be able to give you guys a lot of help, which I think will be good. Um, all right, cool. So we've done three. Let's keep it moving. I'm looking at the clock. We are at about 48 minutes. So let's try to do one more. I don't know. I haven't touched. Let's see where we're at. I haven't touched Silent Trap. I think I was able to help like do one part in that. Uh, Tool Pie, I was able to do the second half of it. I don't know how we did the first half. Tales from the Brave is going to take too long. I don't remember what this one was. I guess let's just try the other easy. Let's just finish with this one, and we'll leave the other ones for round two. All right, so same thing. Subject, because it looks like we're going to get an email that has malware, and we're going to have to find some API key. Um, okay. Yeah, I think I remember them saying that part in chat when they were doing it. I think that I helped a little bit after they opened up the zip, but let's look at it without looking at the write up first. You guys were able to finish this one too on the The main or the Little League team? Okay. All right, so let's try it. So as always, I'll make a new directory. We'll go into it. We will move the thing that we need into this directory. We will look inside this directory, or this zip file. So just a pcap. 7z also, capital L will give you this too. One of the new ones I found out, I think, recently was, oh, what was it? Was it V? No. There's a verbose, maybe it was V for verbose, verbosity. I feel like it gave me more. Anyway, we're not here for that. I always like to run strings on everything. You never really, especially on more complex ones, you don't find anything. I always think that they're interesting though. I didn't. All right, whatever. We won't start with that. On top of running strings, bin walk is also good to use on. It's almost like you could use it on any forensic artifact, and you might get something. Like we get our, at least tells us we get our encrypted zip, right? We know that we'll be looking for that later. We'll have to find the password, but so at least puts us on the lookout for this just by using binwalk. And then again, strings can do similar things. Like just, we see there's some email stuff going on. See some base 64 encoded stuff. I don't know if it's worth decoding that yet. See a bunch of more email stuff. Bunch of more encoded. Yeah, so strings often too much. Maybe if you wanted to be good with it, maybe be looking for things like admin or something. Of course, we don't get anything. All right, we know what we need to do though. That's Wireshark. All right, a bunch of packets, not too many. 4,000. Could scroll through if we want. We kind of already know what we're looking for though, right? Some kind of email, whether it's IMAP, it's POP3 something. No. Alright. Yeah, this starts about a third the way through. Goes on for the rest. See if we could follow anything. And we see basically the same thing that we're looking at in strings. Yeah, nothing standing out as too crazy, right? Don't see any exploits, don't see any malicious files being transferred. That is another thing to look at, especially on easy challenges. Export objects, HTTP. Typically, this is like a Pico. Like you'll always find a flag like this in Pico. Get nothing sticking out here though. All right, let's see what we're even supposed to be doing. What is the subject of the first email? So this is hard too, because right, in order to know what the first email is that's malicious, you have to know the answer to this, right? first you have to identify the malware that was transferred before you could find the subject, right? So that's another thing with when you find questions like this that go in an order, you're typically going to want to start in the middle. Um, it's called the Cotton Joe. What is it called, bro? The cotton. Where did you, bro? I forget. The Cotton Eye Joe. It's called the Cotton Eye Joe method, and that's because here there's a song called Cotton Eye Joe, and it goes, "Where did you come from? Where did you go?" And something about Cotton Eye Joe. But yeah, so you find something sus, and you ask, "Where did you come from, and where did you go?" Right? You find the sus thing. How did you get here? And then what did you do? Um, so that's a tip. Whenever you get these, you're probably going to want to start with the questions in the middle and then work your way either to the front or to the back. You could go either way, right? Um, but you're never going to know like a question like this. What was and in PCAPs you'll see this question asked is what is the malicious IP? Uh, you don't know what the malicious IP is until you actually find the exploit. And then question 3 is going to be what was the exploit that the malicious person used or whatever. Oh, the Cotton Eye Joe. I don't even know if it's a real thing. Let me put it in. I think it's like a joke. Um, like I heard it during like a podcast one time. I don't even think it's real. But I always like the name of it because the song, Where Did You Come From? Where did you go? TFIR. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it, but I watched a podcast or something and someone mentioned it and called it the Cotton Eye Joe. Let's just to show you the yeah because the lyrics again, where did you come from? So that when you're asking about malware, how did you get on the system? Where did you come from? And where did you go? Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess no one else has really written about it, but and I can't remember the podcast, but something I think about. Yeah, the point. Yeah, that's a long spiel. The main thing to keep in mind is when you're doing these challenges, especially when you're new, don't get stuck on like I'm gonna solve the first one and then I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna solve the second one. I'm gonna move on. Start somewhere in the middle and then work your way out, and it will be I think easier. All right. But yeah, so we're just looking for different emails and we're looking for a subject of an email. I saw in the walkthrough that they had like some pretty way of like a pretty view or something. I've always just been like following and looking just like clear text. All right, so this is we already found what the thing just randomly what we're going to be looking for, right? Um, and again, things that make it sus. Right here, we're calling it a zip. Right here, we're calling it a .pdf.exe. I guess this is the file inside the zip, but you guys know it's just that .pdf.exe. Um, this is actually, and if you guys end up doing web, if you ever are coming across like a file upload vulnerability, this is what you might see, right? It might only accept PDFs. And so you do a .pdf, but then throw that exe after. So it's still executable, but then it bypasses that. Like maybe it's a whitelist or something for the website that's, checking what kind of files could be uploaded. So this looks all pretty normal. To me, that says that we need to look for something before. We might not even find anything that we're looking for in this TCP stream. We might have to go back to the IMAP. So dev support. This looks like the email, right? Inbox dev support, and then we get our base 64. We'll be lazy and just use Power, or not PowerShell, CyberChef. And it's nothing. What is it? I thought that was going to be the content body. What is this? This is a token? What are we doing with that? Where are the emails? Do you any of you guys use Network Miner? There's a tool called Network Miner. It's good for things like this, I think, where you want it to extract files for you. All right, this has to be it, right? Yeah, I don't use it very often because I don't think that they have a version for Linux. And so I think if I want to use it, I have to be on Windows, which I hate. Just trick them. There has to be a better way. This is what you want to avoid in forensics challenges, right? You don't want to be just scrolling through stuff. You'll waste hours of your life doing this. That's one of the good things with strings, right? That we could look up these things programmatically if we wanted to, or at least strings would help us with that. I think that what we would really want to do is just know how this mailbox is, where the messages are. We're seeing things that have to do with messages, just not the actual messages. And we're over an hour now. All right, let's cut this. Let's end this for today. Let's look at what we did, and then we'll start fresh. We haven't even answered any of these. This might take a while, going through it slowly. So we finished these three. What will probably happen is let's do another one where we do three more, and then we'll probably have to save a whole hour for Tales of the Brave. Does that work for you guys? Yeah. And actually, we may have a time limitation. I don't know how much longer these are going to be up for. Oh, 3 days, yeah. So tomorrow, let's do another round of this, and we'll get through the next three, and then we'll do one more after, and let's try to finish this before the next CTF starts. Does that sound good for you guys? And then I'll upload this to my YouTube channel, and see if this is useful for anybody that wasn't here. Not right now. I haven't uploaded anything to it in months, maybe even years. I have to find it. Yeah, once I find the link though, I'll upload it, send it to you guys, and then let me know what time you guys want to go tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. Thank you guys.